Check. Check the mic. Consider your mic checked. Nice to see everybody. Welcome back to the program. My name is Dean. On a Thursday, the NBA trade deadline was today. It came and went. Raptors didn't do jack shit, so it wasn't a lot of fun. They
got one guy, didn't they?
Jakob Poeltl, but they did that yesterday. He just said, and they played them last night, and so he just walked across the hallway. He's like, "Hey guys," and they drafted him like 6 years ago, so he's just kind of back.
I was going to say he was in the organization. Yeah,
exactly.
Is my camera
fuzzy?
Foggy?
Yeah.
Why is it?
Yeah, it is. Have you been using that as a masturbation studio as well?
No, I do not whack off up here. I feel very exposed. Lots of windows.
People can see you.
Yeah,
you never want to masturbate in a room with a lot of windows.
I do enjoy a little wank. I just don't really feel like I need to share it with my neighbors. Never
probably
been a
wise.
kink of mine.
Are you one of those are you like a computer masturbator, or are you one of those guys that can just conjure an image in the bathroom and go, "Yep, I'm gonna bring that. Let's take that withdrawal from the spank bank of like 10 years
Depends
ago."
on the day.
Oh, well, what is it? Like, will you
generally I can
computer?
mix it up.
Yeah,
I can mix it up. Yep.
Good for you.
Yeah,
good for you. My buddy's
I do watch.
You watch a lot. I know you watch a lot.
I watch a lot of.
My buddy's son moved out of the house, went to university this year, and he moved they're like, fuck. We went into his room.
Yeah,
19, right? 18, 19. We go into his room. We start moving stuff around because we're going to clean out the room and make it an office. And underneath where his desk was like hardwood rug.
So he would fire it into the rug and then not clean it up?
I guess so.
Yeah, no.
There's like a pandemic of it, because I talked to, we were talking about it over pints the other day. We're all hanging out, and he's like, and the other guy at the end of the table was like, same here. Johnny moved out. Underneath his desk was a goddamn disaster. We had to replace the carpet in his entire room. And I'm like, what is it with these young men these days? That was a bathroom and a sock when I grew up. That's what that was.
Well, that and showers.
Well, and doing it sitting up. Like, are you a big sit-upper when you do that? It's just like there's too much shit going on. You got to be I'm a lay-downer. I'm not a sitter-upper. I just don't understand
I can mix it up. I'm
good at it.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
I can mix it up. Standing? You stander?
I could stand. I could do the Captain Morgan.
Oh, like this with a foot up on the bench in the shower. That got Captain Morgan. Old Captain Morgan wink.
Yeah.
That felt great. Anyway, I don't even know why we started talking about masturbation.
Everybody,
yes,
everybody whack.
Yeah, we do. And I was so excited for today's show. I almost did it before we started. Glad I didn't. Either way, nice to see you. Lock and Cross is here, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton. He's the morning show host at 957 Cruise FM. Every weekday morning, you listen to him online. Massive online following out here in the province of Ontario and across Canada now, which is great.
We've had to start asking people, are you in Edmonton? Because I can't remember what it was. It was a couple of weeks ago we were giving away something.
Yeah.
And it was like Monster Pro Wrestling tickets or something. And Jimmy, the person must have misheard or whatever. It doesn't matter. But they were trying to win something. And Jimmy's like, well, what's your address? Because he's got to get the information for the system. And he's like, this person just tried to win tickets in Hamilton or something.
Hamilton, Ontario?
Yeah. We have that occasionally once in a blue moon. We do have quite a following online. Well, I mean, and you stream now, right? It's like this, it's just a different world. So people are listening to you if they don't like the morning show host on their rock station in Kingston,
Toronto,
or
they don't have one. Yeah.
Maybe they tune into the locker room and hang out with Locke, Grant, and Jimmy.
Speaking of streaming, did you see CBC's big announcement before we get to Twitter was down all day yesterday? Elon Musk institutes a Twitter policy, which means you can't tweet as much as you like unless you pay him. We'll get to that in a minute. We'll talk about the congressional hearings. We'll talk about the Chinese balloon situation. We'll talk about my parents. We'll talk about booze. But more importantly, remind me, where was I going? I was going somewhere really exciting.
CBC and their
CBC this week. CBC announced, Catherine Tate announces, and this is boring for a lot of people. If you're like, oh, media shit again, is a media guys talking media. It's a big fucking deal when it comes to the consumption of media. This has something to do with like 36 million people across this country. And it has something to do in your industry of traditional media. CBC this week, Catherine Tate, the CBC CEO, it's Canada's national broadcaster. You can make fun of it all you like. State-run media, every country has one. NPR in the States, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, long story short, Catherine Tate announces.
Not every country.
No, they do. They all have one.
They
all have one.
Not
people call it a national institution. I don't necessarily agree. It does the bidding of the office and power is what it does, because they're fully taxpayer funded. Plus, they sell ads. Anyway, I don't want to get into the whole CBC as a shit organization.
My
I don't want to know
problem
about the problem.
is
I don't even want to know about the problem. I want to get to this thing first. Okay, this thing was amazing this week. CEO of the biggest broadcaster in the country admitted, and I quote, this is paraphrasing. I'm not quoting. Paraphrasing.
This is not.
Radio and TV. No, let me finish. Radio and TV are dead. We are moving to streaming only in the next decade. Watch us. That's what she said. She said it out loud. She's in an interview with somebody, and she's like, Catherine Tate's like, you know what? We're going to go where the audience is, and that audience is online. We learned that in the pandemic. Fuck radio and TV. No one watches or listens to that shit anymore, specifically in the city of Toronto is what I was because radio and television are still pretty big in rural communities, smaller markets. But outside of Toronto, no one listens to it anymore. No one watches television. No one listens to the radio. Everybody streams.
What's happening?
TV, you stream podcasts, you stream radio shows.
Yes.
Now there is, and you're like, and this is no great shake because we're fairly mediocre here. This is the best show in Toronto. And we just dick around for 2 hours in the afternoon. That's how bad it is. Because you can do everything here anymore. Anyway, streaming's alive. Traditional's dead. Bob's your uncle. CBC admitted it. Everybody shit their pants this week.
First off, here's what can I
yeah, sure.
You always do this.
What?
You always shit all over mainstream and traditional forms of media. And listen, the thing is,
delicious.
Do these companies need to do they need to hold on, am I there?
Yeah.
There. Hold on, I just lost the screen.
I got you. There you go. How you doing?
People need to adapt. Companies need to adapt. I don't care what. I had a conversation today with the Labatt rep. By the way, proud to announce that Bud Light will be sponsoring the Locker Room Lawn Darts tournament this summer. And the Labatt rep said something very interesting to me. We did a little sampling with him. They've got some new Bud Light seltzers that are not they're not hops related. They're vodka. So they kind of taste like pop. Anyway, you'll start to see them. There's going to be a big push by Bud Light. But the funny thing about the conversation I had with Jimmy, the Labatt rep, he says to me, he goes, "You got to adapt or die." And I'm looking at him. I'm going, wow, that's coming from the guy that has probably one of the biggest selling beer brands on the planet, talking about the fact that you need to adapt. And you know what? He's not wrong. And I think what's happening right now is mainstream media, traditional forms of media, whether television, newspaper, or radio, are in a position where they are looking at the success of digital content and a lot of content creators that have gone out and done this themselves, like podcasts. And they're also taking a look at the money they used to make and comparing it to what used to be there. And it just isn't, right?
Yes, sir.
And so
can I read you her statement? You're 100% right.
It does not mean that people don't still listen to traditional forms of media.
Oh, I'm not saying that they don't. I'm saying that the telegraphing is here and it's over, and people are finally admitting this out loud. That it's got to
I have a meeting next week with my company about podcasts.
As you should.
Right? Yeah. You know what I mean?
Let me read this to you. Let me read this to you before I put on a little chapstick, because I got to do this with nice lips. This is from the Globe and Mail. In an interview with the Globe and Mail, Catherine Tate, president and CEO of CBC, said the broadcaster is eventually preparing to shift, get ready to suck on this, all of its content to online only in order to remain relevant. She said more and more Canadians moving to streaming while the CBC is, quote, this killed me, sitting here loyally broadcasting over the airwaves. Just takes a big shit on it. I love it. She says then, if we're going to be an audience first, we have to be digital first. We get up every day and say, what do our audiences want? Where are they? And they're on digital, increasing in numbers. And so if we're not there, we're no longer relevant. God bless you, Catherine Tate.
No, she's smart. She's smart. And I still think there will always be a form of their product on a traditional platform.
I agree.
She can say all she wants that they want to be over, but I don't think you're going to move over 100%. It's just, it isn't going to happen.
That I disagree with.
Especially CBC.
The way that it's done now will. The way that it's done now will change. These television stations, radio stations.
Plus, they're mandated by a government. They're mandated by a government to broadcast across the country.
They don't pay attention to that anymore.
Of course they do.
No,
they have a certain amount of, they do. They
have to have, okay, let me ask you this. They have to have live programming for, I think it's 12 hours a day.
Yeah.
12 hours a day.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Name me a radio station in this country that has live programming from the area that they are fucking broadcasting in 12 hours a day other than the CBC. The answer is none. Voice tracking, piping shit in from other cities, $25 shows.
Dean, CBC is responsible to the government for the nut they take from us.
Yes, they are.
And that nut comes with, you will broadcast a certain amount of live hours, live news in a given day.
Yes.
That's what that is.
Yes.
So
but
that has nothing to do. My license is very different.
No, it's the same. You have to serve and have to have a certain amount of traditional radio and traditional television have licenses that say you have to serve the area that we give you the license in. And these many hours of broadcasting have to come from your area. Every radio station in this country is live for 12 hours a day. Every radio station in this country is breaking that rule daily. I know. And no one cares because it's like, fuck, they got to survive. No, I'm telling you the truth.
I have a few friends that work in radio, Locke, and I have buddies here in town that work for 4 or 5 U.S. stations. Literally, that's what they do. They have their job with the station they're assigned to, and their side gig is 4 or 5 U.S. stations they announce for. Yeah. There is not 12 hours of local programming, even in Canada's capital, outside of the CBC.
Yeah. They threw all those rules out the door years ago. That all went out the door with Foreground, Dean.
Recently, like in 2023, you mean? Like with this last little thing where they said, "Oh, you don't have to have." I'd have to look into it, but and again, it's been 5 to 6 years.
That was a thing years ago, but it went out the door.
Really? Well, they're supposed to be serving communities.
You used to also have to have a certain percentage of talk content, and all that went out the door.
Yeah.
I think you're wrong on that.
I might be, honestly, but I know that they are getting into the weeds. Yeah, we are.
We are getting into the weeds here.
Anyway, it was just really nice to hear the president of the CBC go, fuck, we're done with this shit. We're going to move online. It's going to be the best. That's where everybody is. Screw you, screw TV, screw radio. And now they're like, what do we do with all the equipment?
You know what? Honestly, I'll tell you what's going on right now. It isn't the lack. It can be attributed to the consolidation, especially on the radio side, and the lack of concentration on live programming and talent as a whole, right? The cutbacks, the catering to the shareholders and trying to do more with less. Everybody in our industry, whether you're on television or radio, has had to deal with that. And for the most part, a lot of it at the beginning of it was necessary. Like Dean and I last night had a conversation, and he was like, yeah, when they started to make cutbacks, probably for the first 5 or 10 years in radio, it made sense. There was a lot of coasters in our.
You have any lazy people I worked with that they're like, hey, I work 2 hours a day, but don't tell anybody. And they're like, yeah, we're going to give you like 4 more jobs in because that's 8 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. So that got cut. A lot of those people, the dead wood of our industry got cut, but they've they've kept going, and now you're dealing with an industry that is bogged down by a lack of ability to do a job properly in a day because there's been so many cutbacks.
Yep.
But it's more so than digital versus traditional media. The problem that we have in the country, and nobody has been able to sort of get over it or become the big dog anymore, is the segmentation of the industry. I mean, we see it constantly. Content, we have so much at our fingertips right now.
Never had more.
Yeah.
Never had more.
It's insane.
But part of the problem is too, and I want to get out of this and move on to Twitter, because Twitter was a fucking dumpster fire yesterday. Like an absolute, Paulie, you saw it too. Fuck, we were dying laughing. I want to get onto that, but I will say this, dude, it's just time. Right. Like, you know, we can sit here and we can battle back and forth. The technology isn't there anymore. You can't, on demand's changed everything. It's changed how we behave. So like, you're not going to keep funneling people into, don't forget, listen to this at 6:15. Don't forget, watch this at 8:20. Nobody's like that anymore. Everybody's like, fuck, just send me something on my phone and I'll figure it out later. Or just let me sign up on Twitter with a DM and stuff like that. It's just changed the way we are. And because of it, we are in this position. And I love the fact that the CBC finally said, hey, listen, it's time. It's going to happen. Well, and I think, because it's funny, I was talking to some guy at Rogers, a buddy of mine that still works there, and he's like, that was a pants-shitting article.
Paul, you wanted to say something. I have one more thing I want to add to this.
Well, I was going to say that CBC's digital content is exceptionally good. Yeah, I mean, they have a lot of great podcasts, but if you go on Gem and Newsworld, like their digital content, their game is really good.
Best in Canada.
Solid. Yeah. I can't argue with that. I use CBC Gem all the time because there's like, I'll see an ad for something and it'll pop up on social media feed.
Bullshit. You love those home for the holidays, like, old horsey movies, don't you? You really do.
No.
You love the shitty Canadian television that no one watches. Like, what was that? What was that one? Borderlands or something?
I don't know. What's
you love Hudson and Rex. You're a big Hudson and Rex guy.
Do you know what I think is going to happen? I think what's going to happen is everybody's going to morph into, on a content basis, everything is going to morph into what the demand is. And I'll give you a perfect example.
Already has. Yeah.
It has, definitely. I don't think we're going to see, I think what we're going to see is more and more companies trying to do things differently to bring in an audience, because you don't have these programs anymore where you put MASH, the season finale, and 120 million people watch, right? You don't have these. If you have a show on TV and you have, I don't know what the numbers are now, but if you have like 1 million people watching you on a Sunday night, that's actually pretty decent now. And in radio, there's
that's unbelievable.
Well.
Yeah, it is. It's huge.
But I also think there is this exploratory thing happening on the content creation and the packaging side of content and entertainment in the world that we live in, where people are trying to figure out what everybody wants. And I'll tell you, for me, we've had quite a few conversations in the last few years about binging TV, and this is just one example, binging TV versus getting it once a week, like appointment tuning. And we kind of go back.
Guy. I'm a binge guy, by the way.
See, you're a binge guy, but I'll tell you something. I thought I was a binge guy too, until a couple of shows have come out that have been released weekly, and then I'm kind of excited for my
like Last of Us. I'm so jacked up for the 4th episode of The Last of Us,
which, by the way,
pissed off during the week that I can't watch it. By the way. Yes,
but hold on. But I'm excited. Now I'm looking forward to it. It's giving me some anticipation. If that show had dumped in my lap, I'd be over, and then I'd be sad that I didn't have something to watch. So I think what's happening is there's going to be a lot of movement in how things are packaged, how things are presented, how people consume them, and there's going to be major shifts and people are going to be exploring how all this stuff is done.
Speaking of which, did you see Netflix
Friday?
Today?
The Last of Us, Friday.
The Last of Us is on Friday. It's tomorrow. It comes out tomorrow. It's a day early. 2 days.
Trying to stay away from Sunday Super Bowl. So
smart.
Episode number 5. I just want to give people a heads up on that.
Thank you very much.
That's
Appreciate it. Are you
By
watching
the way,
that
I
show,
agree
Polly?
with Mike.
Yeah,
I agree with Mike
I,
H.
I thought that
fourth episode
the
was
third
awesome.
episode, that third episode was wow.
Unbelievable.
Holy shit. Nick Offerman, once
Blew my
again,
mind.
you know. Ugh.
Actor of the year.
Well, and
He
then I
should get
saw
all
a
the
thing
awards.
the other day. I saw a thing the other day, had a picture of Jared Leto and a picture of Nick Offerman. It said, Jared Leto and Nick Offerman are both 51 years old. And the first comment underneath it was, well, that's an unfair comparison. How is Jared Leto ever going to live up to Nick Offerman?
Although I've seen
That's
some
a
Jared
great
Leto
point.
stuff that's pretty insane. Like he's quite an actor.
He's a bit
he's
of a
great
loon,
in
but he's a great
Morbius.
actor.
Nuts.
Did you guys see Morbius? That might have been the worst fucking
didn't.
movie I've ever seen.
Yeah,
I
I
wanted
haven't
my
seen
money
it.
back after I went. I got it for free. Speaking of streaming, did you see Netflix has ended their password sharing here in Canada? Did you guys see that?
Yeah.
Just Canada. This is fascinating. And the reason why I think it's fascinating is because they're like, okay, before we roll this out to Americans, let's fucking beta test this with the idiots up north. And they did.
They're trying to
So
see what the appetite is because
Yeah.
they're going to lose
Not good.
millions and millions of subscribers in Canada.
Well, here's the deal: is
They're
this is how it works? Is you got to check in once a month. You got to have you get this Netflix portal where you put people's emails, approved emails that can actually use your thing. But each email up to a certain point costs you an extra $7.99. So now they're only doing it in Canada. I've already seen a whole bunch of people complaining about Netflix switching their thing and they can't fucking do it. My daughter's in England and she's studying. She goes, "What about our Netflix account?" And I'm like, it's $12 a month. Like, just get your own account. Like, I don't understand why everybody's fucking losing it over the Netflix password shit. Because I always thought it was just a huge joke anyway, that everybody uses everybody else's Netflix account. I have accounts that don't belong to me or anybody in this house on my television right now as I look at it from past relationships and stuff. And I'm like, I've been watching Disney Plus on some ex-girlfriend's account of one of my kids for like the last year and a half. And I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen with that stuff. That's the stuff they're trying to stop. It's the familial stuff that gets up. And I know you're pissed about it, Lachlan. So I want your thoughts on the Netflix.
Okay,
passwords.
So here's my thing. I got some advice on how to keep screwing Netflix, and I could be wrong because I haven't gone through the process yet. But here's my problem with it. I pay money every month for a family plan, and I've got all my kids on it. I've got Bluebird in Vancouver, Monkey Bird in Toronto, and then I got Jimmy, my son, here in Edmonton. Okay. And then us. So I have 4 people. We don't share it with anybody else, but I bought the family plan. So we're paying $16-17 a month or something like that. Okay. Yeah. They're all in different parts of the country, but I'm paying for a family plan, the premium plan, so that my kids can still watch Netflix if they want. And my daughter was watching Netflix on our account when she was in Spain, when she was in Hungary, when she was dancing around Europe. Okay. And listen, I bought the family plan so that my family could watch Netflix. At no point did anybody say that everybody in my family, the family plan, had to live in one room, in one building. So now you've just arbitrarily decided that you're going to switch that. And then everybody's got to get a different account. I'm done. I'll be gone with Netflix. And I think there's going to be a lot of people that are done with Netflix as well.
Are you going to cancel your service because of it? Are you really?
Oh,
Polly,
soon as here's how I think you might be able to screw Netflix, because they've got a thing that pops up apparently that asks you to determine Netflix. Whether or not I want people to keep doing this.
I love that you're doing this, because I'll tell you how you can screw Netflix and like even more, and then I'll tell you how you can screw streaming even more if you really want to. But go ahead, please.
Anyway, I'm not getting a rocket stick. I'm just not. If it pops up and asks you to determine whether or not that's your primary residence, get out of it. Go back in and see if do not go into that form, because I have this feeling that they need to be told, because they don't have the technology to find out who's stealing their passwords and who's sharing what. I have a feeling that the only way they can is by going into the system and then you telling them, yeah, I'm stealing. This is my primary residence.
Oh, it's
And
like the
then, boom, they
two-factor
got you.
authentication, and then they're like, "That's what Elon was doing with Blue." Yeah. I get it. That's probably a great example. Let's just get to the stuff here. This is Netflix announcement today. Sorry, that was the wrong one. This is the right slide. Netflix says, "Quote: We know there's going to be a lot of confusion about Netflix. A Netflix account is intended for one household, so they've changed family to household. That's your beef. I get that. That pisses me off." So we're rolling out new features. We're rolling out new features in Canada, New Zealand, Portugal, and Spain more broadly in the coming months to give you more control over your account. More control over your account. I love how they put that. And then they're like, and you can still travel and watch Netflix, by the way, which is really nice of them.
And the reason why they're admitting that is because they can't tell you. They cannot tell. And they're not monitoring everybody. So they're lying to everybody in the hopes that they'll go and go, oh, yes. Oh my goodness.
I can
yes,
still travel. Oh, like,
remember the no call list?
Yeah.
Remember? You signed up for
People kept calling?
No, they just started selling that you can't call this list to all these businesses. My phone never rang so much in my life. I signed my cell phone up to it to stop the fake calls coming in all the time. Right?
Yeah.
And it was worse when it's the same thing.
They sold your phone numbers. You totally.
As soon as they have your information, you're effed. Avoid giving them any of your information. And the VPN doesn't work because what am I going to do? I'm going to go pay $10 a month for a VPN so that I can save $7 from Netflix.
Let's get to the solutions here. Rob Gill, because he's a pirate too. I love pirates. How to get around Netflix new password sharing rules. Step 1, create a Gmail account. Step 2, change the account email to new address. Step 2, again, I think he means 3, share the email and password with your family. Step 4, well, it's just 3 here, but I think it means 4. Now everyone has the ability to reauthorize their Netflix account. There are other solutions as well.
Okay, hold on. Put that back up. I didn't finish writing it down.
He's going to write this down.
Just take a screenshot, buddy.
Oh, hold on. Yeah.
Use your phone.
I can send this to you as well, right? Or you can just Google this when we're done. Or I can just, oh, do you want me to leave it up?
Put it back.
Oh, fuck, sorry. I didn't know you were doing some.
All right, I got it.
Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome. Oh, no problem. So I know, fuck. It's just I love this place. One of the great things you can do is you can
send
use
that to the kids.
And I don't know. I changed James DeFiore's life. Anybody I give these 2 hacks to, I changed their television watching lives. You ready for this, guys? Now, people who make television and movies probably not going to be happy to hear this.
They won't be.
Go get a browser that's totally private. Brave, Firefox, either or. Then you go to one of 2 sites, PrimeWire or Soap Today. And everything that is streaming everywhere in the world is right there. And guess how much it costs? 0. Because it's illegal. So if you're that mad, I'm giving you maybe one of the great outs in illegal streaming history. And do I feel bad about sharing it? No. Will people get mad at me? Yes. Do I care? Have I ever? No.
Yeah.
So you get everything on Netflix, everything on Disney, everything on Prime.
Everything. Absolute. If it streams, it's there. Everything. Yellowstone, Yellow Jackets, which, by the way, you got to watch Yellow Jackets. Fucking awesome.
That's good.
Everything. You just hook up your computer to an HDMI
you need to send that
boom,
to
you're
me.
ready to go. Yeah, I will. I'm not going to put it on the screen though, because I'm going to get in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. You don't broadcast that too
That's
loudly.
right.
You can talk about it.
Just do it in your podcast where people can refer to it.
Don't broadcast that.
Well,
hey, dude,
my Netflix account is like $24 a month.
150,000 downloads a month.
Yours is $24 a month.
I've
you
got
get the
the
one
4K
with like no
version.
commercials. Oh,
no, well, no commercials, and I've got the 4K version, which I share with my parents. But I'm like, I'm this close to going, you know what? This is stupid. I don't want this anymore. I can get all the content I want for free. I know how to do it.
Same.
But I choose to go above board. But now I'm getting to the point where this is kind of like when it was with cable. They just kept adding on and adding on and adding on.
You just told everybody how you don't pay for anything.
Oh, I didn't say I don't pay. I pay for 2 streaming services. I have 4 of them, but I don't use them. And I use those I use them all legally. But if it's something that I want to watch and I'm like, fuck, I got no time, and I'm upstairs in my room and I'm like, I flip it on. Dude, it's the easiest thing in the world. You get on a Brave browser or Firefox, boom, you bring up the site, bang, you type in what show you want to watch, and it's there. Television, movies, streaming, audio, video, everything. It's perfect. It's unbelievable. And I encourage
how I watch hockey and football.
Do you? You stream?
Hold on, you're watching
cable. I haven't had it
that?
for 12 years.
Is that Sports Bay? You use Sports Bay? Is that one?
There's one specifically designed for NHL teams.
Okay.
For me, I'll tell you, I'll be honest. I've kept cable.
Everyone does it.
Because
we're the only people being honest about it, to be honest with you.
I've kept
and I have cable. I
because
pay
of
for
live-
cable too. I pay for all of it, but I also stream illegally a lot.
I've kept all of the cable, and I pay monthly to Shaw because I hate the idea of not being able to watch a game. And too many friends of mine, I've had too many people tell me things like, "Oh, you go see my guy at the farmer's market, the East Indian one in the back corner." And if your box doesn't work, he'll reset it for you. You just got to go down there,
and it's only $20 every time he does it. Yeah, it's gonna give you this little box. It's gonna be great. You got to meet him in a gas station bathroom, though. Oh fuck, seriously.
Exactly. So I'm just like, you know what? I want TV. When I turn the TV on, I want it to work. And I watch a lot of sports, and that's probably the bigger issue.
Dude,
plus my wife watches a lot of cable stuff. But
we'll send you all the streaming information you need to be able to watch everything confidently, and you can feel like you're winning every time you do it because you don't have to pay for it. That's really there's Schadenfreude involved in this too. Is it illegal to stream on illegal channels? Not really, but it is. But there's also some Schadenfreude there too, because like a lot of people are pissed off that Netflix went from $5.99 a month to $30 a month. A lot of people are pissed off they're now doing commercials, and a lot of people are pissed off that they are literally kettling your viewership. So that's why they do what they do. And some people don't have that kind of scratch, right? Like we've been hoodwinked into having cable for like 100 years.
Yeah.
And we can't seem to get out of it. So it's like, fuck you, fuck that, fuck them. And I get that mentality.
Well, I'll tell you, they're ringing the death knell, the bell here for Netflix. People are going to walk away from this service.
Well, not until they test it in Canada and fuck us over first, and then make the necessary
See how many
changes.
clients they lose in the first month.
Yeah, Canada, New Zealand, Portugal, and Spain. They're like, let's test it on the plebes before we give it to the Americans and people in countries where we want their money. Like that's what they're doing. So whatever.
We're done. I'm not paying for a family plan if my family can't use it. Like I'm done, and I'll cancel it all
in the same house.
Like that's
for me. You know what pisses me off is I don't have cable. I haven't had it for 12 years. I'm a CFL guy, right? I've been going to Red Blacks, Rough Riders games for decades.
Love the CFL.
I want to watch a game. So how do I do it? Well, I can go to the pub, which is usually what I'll do. But there's times when I'm just tired and I'll just want to turn on the TV and watch it. Well, I know a streaming service I can use because I'm not paying, what is it, $10 a game with TSN?
Yeah.
I'm like, $10 and they're like, oh, it's $40, $35 a month. $35 a month for TSN?
Yeah.
Fuck
to watch rec league football? I'm not interested.
I love the CFL. I'm a big CFL guy, but I'm not paying that kind of money. I'm not paying that kind of money. No way.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't pay that money.
I'm going to pay $40.
I got
I'll
NFL Red Zone, dude. NFL Red Zone. I got it's like fucking I don't know what $5 a month or something like that. $5 a month, and I'm like, I just want Red Zone. I was like, nah, you got to take like 15 other channels too.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's like, no. I just
sakes.
No. Well, and
like
here's the funny
extra
thing:
$30-$40 a month, and it just pisses you off. Dude, it's criminal, and we only have like 2 or 3 of them in this whole country. So I don't mind streaming illegally the things that they want us to pay for.
Well, and Rogers shot themselves on the foot on this a few years ago when they said we want to switch to all digital broadcast, and when we do that, you can do a la carte and pick and choose the channels you want. So the CRTC said, okay, no problem. And then Rogers went full digital, and they said, but you have to buy these packages.
Paul.
And
Paul,
CRTC said, no, you said pick each one you want. So then they started packaging them up in smaller bundles.
No, that's not how it went down.
I used to work for them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would take his life.
No, but hold on. The CRTC, you have it the wrong way around. You're making it sound like Rogers is dictating policy from the CRTC. The CRTC tried to regulate the packaging.
Yeah.
And the blocking off.
Yeah. Yes.
And they did it poorly. So all the companies did was They just created ways around it. And now when you phone them and go, I just want this, they go, no, you got to get this. And you can say, you can even say to them, yeah, but you're not supposed to give me a package deal anymore. And they go, that's the way it is. They're blatantly ignoring a CRTC rule from the government.
Yeah. To Paul's point, Rogers dictates policy. All the big broadcasters do in this
But
country.
I'm just making a point that Paul, they're ignoring it, but it's the other way around. The CRTC is supposed to tell them what to do.
They don't.
Well, you got to remember,
not
the
in charge.
CRTC board is all volunteers. And you know who's on that board? The heads of Rogers, Bell, Telus, Shaw.
Yeah,
they're all sitting.
It's not volunteer. They're all appointed. They're all appointed there too. Some of the people that get paid, they're all appointed by radio and TV people. Dead industry going, let's decide.
There are people from radio and television with radio and television on the CRTC, but Dean's
it's all appointment stuff. Anyway, fascinating stuff. And speaking of streaming, yesterday I couldn't get on Twitter for about 3 hours. Paul, same thing. Were you 3 hours in the afternoon? It was down globally. Twitter down was trending. Everybody was freaking out except Elon Musk, who's like, whatever, didn't tweet anything yesterday. He's like something about Turkey. Oh, we're going to turn Turkey on tomorrow. Tesla's awesome still, but it was down all day long. And the reason I think it was down, I don't know if you guys watched any of the Twitter Files congressional hearings. Have you been watching any of this stuff? It was fucking hilarious. So Republicans own Congress now, and they have the majority of the vote. And they took Elon's half-baked Twitter Files thing that he paid Barry Weiss and Matt Taibbi and Michael Schellenberg to put out in a series of these Twitter Files dumps to try to convince everybody out there that Joe Biden tried to prevent Hunter Biden's dick pics from hitting the internet, which they did because he got doxxed and people stole his fucking private information, including pictures of his hammer. And Twitter didn't want to get sued and didn't want to dox Hunter Biden. So they're like, we're not doing it. And so the Twitter Files that Elon released were Barry Weiss and by the way, Making Sense with Sam Harris, wonderful podcast where he interviews Barry Weiss, Michael Schellenberger, and he absolutely fucking laid them out as the frauds that they are. Like all the lies, all the bullshit. It's just a joke. Like the Twitter Files were a joke. And so they start these congressional hearings yesterday. Well. What comes out of those hearings? Fascinating shit. How fascinating? Happy to explain it. So while Twitter is down, because these congressional hearings are on, I'm convinced that Elon turned it off in certain parts of the world because it was that fucking gnarly. You had an attestation, like a Twitter Files dump that the Rolling Stone magazine just fucking reported on. That was wild. White House called up Twitter early in the morning of September 9th, 2019. Officials had what they believed was a serious issue to report. Famous model Chrissy Teigen had just called President Donald Trump, quote, a pussy-ass bitch on Twitter, and the White House wanted the tweet to come down. This was in Congress where they actually said, what was the tweet? And this woman who worked at Twitter is like, she called President Trump, quote, a pussy-ass bitch. That was yesterday. That exchange was revealed during the House Oversight Committee hearing into the Twitter Files, focused exclusively on requests from Democrats and feds that the social media company not put anything up there about Hunter Biden, blah, blah, blah. This crusade against the liberal big bias of big tech. However, Trump administration officials and Twitter employees told Rolling Stone that the White House's Teigen tweet demand was hardly an isolated incident. The Trump administration and its allied Republicans in Congress routinely asked Twitter to take down posts they objected to, the exact behavior that they're claiming makes President Biden, the Democrats, and Twitter complicit in anti-free speech conspiracy to muzzle conservatives online. Quote, it was strange to me when all these investigations were announced by Republicans because it was all about the exact same stuff that we had done when Donald Trump was in office. One former top aide said to a senior Trump administrating official, quote, it was normal. So not only are the Twitter Files the original ones that Elon said he commissioned and was going to blow everybody's mind and point to the deep state, not only did they not point to the deep state, Not only did it totally exonerate Joe Biden and everybody in the Democratic Party for not asking Twitter to censor free speech on behalf of libs or libtards, turns out it's the other way around completely. They have a database, Lachlan, of conservatives and Republicans. And by the way, it happened here in Canada, too. There's a lady named Michelle Austin who was recently fired from Twitter, who worked for Stephen Harper, who was in charge, and she did the same shit here. She was a go-between for political people and people in office who had tweets that were up that they didn't like, and she was that person that managed those relationships. It is everywhere, dude. And here's the other point. Not only was it the Republicans and MAGA Nation and all the douchebags, they used that yesterday. They used the congressional hearing. You know when you get blocked and you're like, fuck, you know, or you get suspended. Everybody here has been suspended at some point in time, except for me and Locke, I think. I've never been suspended. You've been suspended. And you're like, fuck.
I've had a couple of things on Facebook, but it's usually weird. Like
when you get suspended, you're like, I want to fucking scream and yell at somebody right now. That's what this is. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert.
I don't know who that is.
The dumbest woman in the world.
Oh, my God.
Literally giving it to the fired Twitter executives, all of whom have had to move because they've been doxxed after the Twitter file shit came out, including Yoel Roth, who's had attempts on his life and been labeled a pedophile by Marjorie Taylor Greene and everybody else in this establishment. This is dumb pants Lauren Boebert literally trying to look smart. And all this is, and I want you to think about this. Think about that time that you got suspended for 12 hours, 90 days, whatever the situation is. And the person who may have made that decision is finally in front of you, and you're a 14-year-old girl. Let's watch this together.
Mr. Roth, Miss Gaddy, did either of you approve the shadow banning of my account at Lauren Boebert? Yes or no?
No, I did not.
Not to the best of my recollection.
Well, let me refresh your memory, because on March 12th, 2021, and Mr. Roth, I know you looked at it because Fascist Twitter 1.0 had a public interest exceptions policy, which means for members of Congress to be shadow banned, it had to go before you, Mr. Roth. So I'll ask again, did you shadow ban my account? Yes or no?
Again, not to the best of my recollection.
So the answer is, Mr. Roth, yes, you did. I found out last night from Twitter staff that you suppressed my account for this tweet. It's a freaking joke about Hillary Clinton being angry that she couldn't rig her election. It's a joke. But in response, being the sinister overlords that you all are, you placed a 90-day account filter so I could not be found. And now we see here that Twitter staff said the visibility filter on my account excluded me from top searches, prevented notifications for non-followers, and much more. This is considered an aggressive visibility filter. You silenced members of Congress from communicating with their constituents. You silenced me from communicating with the American people over a freaking joke. Now, who the hell do you think that you are?
The people in charge that own a private server that you're signed up for, and you agreed to the terms of service. That's who they are.
But this is a free speech violation. No, it's a private company. You violated the terms of service. You got banned. That's how it works.
So,
it gets better. Hang on, it gets better.
Okay, I got to jump in here.
I want you to, but I want to get to, let me get to this. I will. This is Clay Higgins.
There's
another Republican.
I know there is in the world about what you consume content wise and what you put out there, and there's so much confusion.
Well, let me play Clay Higgins.
You're not going to play her again, right?
No. That hurt my ears. That's the kind of woman that everybody cheers when they get punched by another woman. That is one of those things. It's
it reminds me of that scene from Billy Madison. The answer that rambling, incoherent answer you just gave was in no way, shape, or form an answer to the question that was asked. Everyone in here is dumber for having heard it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on you.
Not even close to as dumb as Clay Higgins, who's like, we know what you did. You guys are going to jail.
You, ladies and gentlemen, interfered with the United States of America 2020 presidential election. Knowingly and willingly. That's the bad news. It's going to get worse. because this is the investigation part. Later comes the arrest part.
Twitter over accounts being blocked and not wanting to put dick pics. And then Jamie Raskin had to legitimately explain how the First Amendment worked to all those people. Jamie Raskin is going through chemo. I want you to listen to this. This is this is brilliant. This is a fucking takedown of epic proportions. Keep in mind, Twitter is a private company, was a private company, still is a private company. Anybody can do whatever they want on it. That's why I don't complain about it. That's why I don't complain about this new Elon Musk character limit, which we'll get to in a second. Here's Jamie Rask.
Media company. In America, private media companies can decide what to publish or how to curate content however they want. If Twitter wants to have nothing but tweets commenting on New York Post articles run all day, it can do that. If it makes such tweets mentioning the New York Post never see the light of day, they can do that too. That's what the First Amendment means. Twitter can ban Donald Trump for inciting violent insurrection against the Union, as he was impeached by the House of Representatives, and his 57 of 100 senators found he did. And it can also try to resurrect his political career. Elon Musk just purchased Twitter and therefore controls its editorial content. And among the first things he did was to fire some people, hire some people, denounce some prior decisions, and reinstate an unrepentant and still clearly lying Donald Trump to the platform. Those decisions, however heroic or imbecilic you think they might be, are protected by the First Amendment in the United States of America.
There we go.
So,
Lachlan Cross, ladies and gentlemen.
okay, so this morning we interviewed a young lady. Her name is Alexa, and she's organizing a protest in Edmonton tomorrow. And it's 3 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Alexa is behind the movement, YAG United. And Alexa and her friends are concerned about 15-minute cities, as am I. They feel that eventually that this is just going to be another way of limiting our movement and freedoms here in this fine democracy.
I will
see
be
you
joining.
smiling.
I can see you laughing already.
I'm not smiling.
Yeah,
I'm
you
dead
are.
serious about this.
You're laughing.
I'm going
No,
to be
it's
taking
ridiculous.
part. Chris Sky and I will both be speaking.
Oh,
And I am truly against the 15-minute city movement
No, you're not.
here in Edmonton.
No, you're not.
Hey, now,
Okay,
yes,
so
I
let's
am.
say you are. Now,
I
I saw your tweet today that you were going to be speaking at a protest with Chris Sky. Is that a real thing?
It's a real thing. It's on White Avenue. Starts at 3 o'clock in front of the. Okay,
We
listen.
need footage of this.
Here's the thing. Now, somebody calls the radio station after I was actually angry about this because it led me to start playing Rage Against the Machine. And then the phone rings and I try to answer all the phone calls. And then I get into an argument with a guy. Well, Rage Against the Machine is playing. So I missed Guerrilla Radio, which I don't get a chance to play very often.
Turn that shit up.
Yeah. Anyway, because it's a protest song. And that's exactly what we're doing here. We're protesting something we don't believe in. All right. 15-minute cities. Now, I get a call from somebody that tells me that I am being irresponsible, that I'm a public broadcaster, and that I need to not give this person, this group, any airtime because what they believe in is wrong and they've been seriously misguided. And I'm like, why? Like, what is, I said to him, I said, what makes you think that I broke some kind of rule because you disagree with her? And he's like, no, you have a responsibility. You're a public broadcaster. And I'm like, my responsibility is to come into work every day and be entertaining. That is it. Mm-hmm. And if I'm not, I don't get listeners. And then I eventually lose my job. The thought there is this crazy idea out there, and people have this opinion that these things that they get information from are somehow beholden to responsible. No, the responsibility is on you. If I put somebody on the air who is misguided and giving out false information, it's on you to be the discerning enough to decide whether or not she's right or wrong. And I told him, I said, if you have such a problem with it, go down to the damn protest.
Can we back up?
Why have we got to a point where we think that everything we watch has to agree with our own principles?
Because we're dumb.
Everything we watch and listen to and read has to somehow line up with my morals, and if not, you're doing something against the rules.
Because we're stupid. We're a society of stupid people who want to tell everybody how it works according to the culture that they believe in. We're just fucking idiots, dude. Like, it's a super stupid war.
3 o'clock tomorrow, White Avenue.
Back to the 15-minute city. 3 o'clock protest tomorrow, White Avenue, Edmonton, Alberta. Let me get this straight. You're attending a protest to protest against tyrannical cities that haven't been created yet.
Yes.
Awesome.
Okay, good to know. Good to know.
Yeah.
Well,
Grant,
Chris will be there.
Grant says to me, he goes, this is the best line in the whole thing. He goes, you know what? That's probably less than a 15-minute walk from your place.
It's gotta be convenient.
I'm in a 15-minute neighborhood. Everything is in a 15-minute walk from my apartment.
Oh,
The
you
pub,
tyrannical
the liquor
loser.
store, the grocery store, you name it.
Yeah,
Oh, the
I know.
train. I can walk to the train to take a train to go anywhere in Canada.
I know.
At some point, they are going to start taxing you for your movement around your community.
Well, dude,
It's
that's
gonna
what
happen.
they're doing. No, they're not. No, they're not.
That's
But
what's
they're
gonna
doing that on Twitter. That was the other thing that happened yesterday. I don't know if you saw this. Elon Musk has announced. I fucking love this so much. He's placing limits on tweet frequency and businesses and DMs. Here's
I
what
saw that.
yet. Here's what you get if you don't have Twitter Blue. You can only have 200 DMs per day. That includes group chats. So if someone fills up your group chat to 200 chats in one day, you're fucked. You can't DM anymore. If you don't have Twitter Blue, you can only tweet maximum 20 times per day. That includes retweet, quote, tweeting, replying. You can only do 4 videos or 1 video, 4 photos or 1 video per day. Media tweets are counted separately from general tweets. Twitter Blue users will have no limits. Talk about restricting movement. Mr. Free Speech. Mr. Free Speech absolutist. Mr. fucking woke Stasi. Fuck down with the left. These guys just want to, they're commies. They're all communists. He's communizing fucking Twitter, where he's turning it into an oligopoly, where guys like you and guys like Paul, we pay for ours now, even though it's a legacy blue check mark account.
Mhm.
We pay for ours because we have to post videos longer than 4 minutes. We've been paying now for 3 months, $15 a month. But we have access to things now you don't.
Yeah.
Hey, Elon Musk is a hero. How
See,
incredible
I don't
is that?
know.
And he also
the
announced
thing
you can do a
is-
4,000 character tweet if you like, too,
Yeah.
by the way. But
For-
you can only do that once because it'll take up all your daily limits. So there you go. Oh, and you are limited in who you can follow and who can follow you per day as well. That's the other thing that Elon's doing. If you don't have Twitter Blue, it's fucking awesome.
Well, yesterday I tried to follow somebody. It's like, you've hit your limit. And I go,
Yeah.
how is that even possible? That's
Dude.
not, that doesn't make sense. I'm well below what the limit is. You know,
This is what it
No.
looks like.
Yep.
This dude, he's like, he tries to tweet. Wait, is Twitter down? You were over the daily limits for 70 tweets. And Twitter, this was their response. Might not be working as expected for some of you. Sorry for the trouble.
I don't know. Like, I get why that would be annoying, but again, it's the same thing we were just saying. It's his, right? He can do whatever the hell he wants with it. You
It's
don't
true.
have to agree with him, right? I'm
Yeah.
not going to get angry about it. Like we tend to get riled up. We have a hard time with change. We played some audio from a video on the show this morning about people in Arkansas complaining about not being able to drink and drive.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it was such a great video. I got to
Oh my
find that and
God.
play it
There's
for
a
you.
kid. There's a kid in the car.
I just want to have a beer on my way home.
Pretty soon it's going to be a communist country. They're making me wear a seatbelt. I can't drink and drive. Like, it's just so funny. We have a hard time dealing with change. Like,
Well.
and I've told you guys about Jimmy, my co-host, the little guy from
Yeah.
Tabor, Alberta, one of the most backwards town. It's like the footloose town of Canada. Anyway, his old man was so mad about seatbelts being legislated, and he passed away a couple years ago. And I know this to be true because I've had
Never
more than a
drove
couple
one.
of people tell me he refused to wear his seatbelt
Till the day he died.
He was driving himself to the hospital for chemotherapy sessions and wouldn't put his seatbelt on in the last year of his life.
That's
He
stubborn.
refused. Yeah. And he would take the new truck he had, or the new van or whatever, his plumber, it would beep if you
Didn't do up your
if you
belt.
didn't have your
Yeah.
seatbelt on, right? So he would take a big screwdriver and jam it in the seatbelt to stop the beeping.
It'd be easier if he just plugged it in behind him. That seatbelt becomes
Honestly.
that screwdriver becomes a projectile in any sort of any fender bender, and it's a sword, man.
But that's a sign of we have a hard time with change. I mean, we have developed, we have
Yeah, we
grown.
struggle,
There
don't
have
we?
been-
Yeah.
We've had some things in the past that like we can't wrap our head around, right? We get caught in our ways.
Mostly because
you
the
looking
world
for
is
that
run by
video?
a bunch of dumb old white men, basically.
That is true. Yeah, I got the video here. This is a video you're talking about.
Oh,
It's
this-
a news report. This is 1978 when a lot of states
Classic.
decided that drinking and driving probably wasn't great.
I heard it was Arkansas.
It was Alabama or Arkansas, one of the two. There's some
Yeah.
there's significant drawl, so you'll be able to understand it, but listen very carefully. Like this is how everyone used to think, right? This is a great dichotomy because when it's the irony of it now is like you drink and drive, you don't wear your seatbelt, you a fucking moron. It's uncool. But I want you to watch this. This is 1978 interview, drinking and driving and seatbelt laws coming into certain states.
Still,
Watch.
any attempt to restrict drinking and driving here is viewed by some as downright undemocratic.
It's kind of getting common is when a fella can't put in a hard day's work, put in 11, 12 hours a day, and then get in your truck and at least drink 1 or 2 beers.
They're making it laws where you can't drink when you want to. You can't
She's got a toddler next to her in the seat.
Yeah, not in a kiddie seat either.
driving, and pretty soon we're gonna be communist country.
You know, the only thing that would have made that video funnier is if that 2-year-old would have been smoking.
Yeah. Had a dart hanging out of his mouth.
Back in a dart.
Pretty soon they're going to tell you that you can't let your children smoke cigarettes and stuff. And look at little Jimmy. He's hooked. How you going to get him off? He'd be jonesing for the
We
shit.
do not handle change well.
They're going
No,
to tell us
no.
I can't be drinking beer while I'm pregnant, too, right?
Yeah.
That's the next thing. They're going
That's
to
what
take
they're
that
saying.
away.
Next thing they're going to do is tell me smoke is bad for me. Fuck you. And heroin doesn't cure a headache. What the fuck?
Get those cocaine tooth drops. They do wonders, I'm told.
Yeah, they still make those, don't they? It's fucking crazy.
Ah,
Anyway,
That's
yeah,
awesome.
there's a crazy world that we live in, and I love the Twitter. It's just fucking blown up, which is great.
So-
big fan. Big
So
fan.
is it-
And by the way,
is
like,
it working now?
Not really. No, it's still broken. People don't have access to DMs, can't retweet, tweet. You, Paul, is yours working?
It's sort of working. I've tried to send out a few things today that just kept kicking back. Like, yeah.
Mine
So
was.
it's-
I was
It is.
wondering what the problem was. I honestly, I was having some issues with it yesterday, and I did not know about this until you just mentioned it, Dean.
Did you
that
see the
this
people
was
today on
going
Twitter? They're like, it's the fucking Chinese spy balloon. That's what did it.
Yeah,
That's
totally.
it's
Totally.
the Chinese spy balloon's fault. And by the way,
I loved all the TikTok jokes when the spy balloon went
Oh,
down.
my
That
parents-
that made me
my
laugh.
parents were in South Carolina golfing when the spy balloon came down, right? When they shot
yeah.
it down.
How
and
are we
they took
just hearing
pictures of
about
it.
this now?
I know, it's fucking wild. Well, because I was like, whatever. Spy balloon. No one wants to see my parents' pictures. But then they sent the pictures of the spy balloon because I'm like, my dad's like, we just saw the most incredible thing. We're on the balcony. We see this thing circling this white thing in the sky like 2-3 times, and then all of a sudden there was an explosion.
Boom.
But we took a whole bunch of pictures, and I'm like, dude, send me the pictures. That was the spy balloon. He's like, I know. So you know what they did? They took pictures of the pictures that they took on my mom's phone and sent me those pictures. There you go. There's one. These are 73. So this is a 73-year-old doing tech. There's
Didn't
another
know how to
one.
didn't know how to get the pictures off of mom's phone.
They didn't know how to send them. So my dad
Oh
took
my
them and
god!
sent them to me the same way on his phone that they would have on her phone.
Yeah.
Anyway, love you to death, Jim and Sue. We're having a great time.
Oh,
in
Great.
South Carolina, but this was a big deal. And someone asked a pretty important question. Quote, some fucking Chinese spy balloon with one L meandered over Canada, the USA to nuclear weapon sites in Montana. And now there's another one. By the way, there was another one. It has gone back over the Atlantic Ocean, or sorry, the Pacific Ocean. But long story short, this fucking thing started over Alaska, made its way all the way down through British Columbia, the left coast. Just a beautiful spot out there. Love BC, taking pictures, saying hi, maybe dropping EMT bombs. I don't know, releasing new COVID. Who knows? And we didn't find out about it until some guy in Montana literally records a video, and he's like, "What the fuck is that?" And then all of a sudden, America's on note, right?
Oh.
They're like, and it's. I don't know if you've heard, Paul, because I haven't.
I
I've been.
I had no idea.
Dozens of these things have happened over the past like 10 to 12 years. But I don't know if you've heard, but Canada, there's I don't know the definitive answer to this because Canada isn't saying shit, but did we alert the United States to this? I think they mentioned that NORAD, because it's a joint Canada thing. Yeah. And why didn't they fucking tell us? Like, obviously we don't care. It's just this white thing in the sky, and they're probably not after guys like you and me. But it would have been nice to know it was trolling the fucking entire west coast of Canada and made a little jaunt through Alberta.
The thing that I find hilarious about it all,
Saskatchewan. What's that?
It's like the thing I find hilarious about all of it. It was the Chinese spy balloons. Oh my God, they're coming to get it. I'm like, man, they have satellites right now in space that can see what I've got on my shoe phone while I'm walking down the street. That balloon is probably just doing land prospect. Okay, we can build a factory there. We can build a factory there. That balloon doesn't give a damn. The people who launched it don't give a damn. They're not getting any great intel from that. Their satellites can do that shit.
That's not what the Americans are saying. They're saying like,
they
did high tech shit on it. And it took some fucking crazy pictures and sent some nasty messages. And they followed it and then intercepted all the fucking information it was sending back and forth. And that's what I laughed at, because all the Americans are like, I'm going to go outside with my gun and shoot it down. And America's like, we're collecting information from this, and then we're going to shoot it over the ocean, you stupid idiots.
Well, I heard, Paul, to your point, that it seems convoluted and a little bit antiquated for them to be doing something like this.
Yes.
Because of the information they already get from satellites. But
and TikTok.
Now, to Dean's point, that was the other thing. They have all your information. Like, they have anybody who's on TikTok, they have your information. So why is everybody so up in arms? And to Dean's point, because they are suggesting now that the balloon they shot down, from what they're gathering, actually had quite a bit of technology and was fairly advanced compared to the satellites. Right. And it's easier to get that balloon up than it is to get a satellite up to get newer equipment, updated equipment. So that's kind of the point of it, I guess. Here's the problem I have with it. Now, listen, I know everyone is just sort of comfortable with the idea. I guess we are. I think we are. This country spies on that country. That's fun. They're all doing it, right? The U.S. is doing it. Even when you see guys
we do
on
it all
CNN
the time.
or
Yeah.
Fox,
We get spies everywhere.
even when
they
all admit it. We're all doing it.
Named David Wallace from time to time. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But the problem I have with it is if China's all up in arms about it being shot down, the issue I have is if the shoe was on the other foot, China would have lost their minds if the U.S. had put something like that over their country.
Well, they've already got multiple spy satellites over China right now.
Have you ever seen a map of U.S. Army bases outside of China? They line up almost perfectly the entire rim of I think it's the it's the eastern coast of China as it runs into like North Korea, South Korea. They like Taiwan, Korea, all those countries, Japan, they got so many fucking American army bases on them. It would be like China deciding to fucking take over Rhode Island. Like, that's the same thing, right? Or Halifax.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Am I way off base?
No.
I think China knows, like, listen, U.S. does this, we do this, right? But this would be considered, I think China would be if it was the other way around, I'd be worried about China's response to this.
They already responded. They're like, "Fuck, sorry guys, it was just a weather balloon," and they're like, "No, we shot it down."
No,
We got all the
China's
stuff."
pissed about this. They want that technology back. They're
not getting it, dude. Belongs to the United States of America now. Yeah, I'd like to see them try and get it. Chris, Army Chris from Fire for Effect Pod, old Army vet. He's like, I'm telling you right now, both countries knew 100% when that thing hit North American airspace. Do we not have a right to know? Should we not know about that stuff?
No, I don't think so.
I thought it was entertaining.
I wish I didn't know about this right now. Actually,
really, you don't want to talk about it
that much?
No,
I'd rather be a. I can't. This kind of stuff bothers me, and I don't want to know about it. I really don't.
You don't?
Enough.
I do.
Doesn't trouble me.
I think it's awesome. I think spy games are great.
Cloak and dagger shit. It's like the 70s all over again, right?
Right. I know.
I'd rather watch it in a movie about 10 years from now about the balloon.
The balloon.
I don't want to follow it in real time.
Did you see the one photo somebody says, "Oh, here's the balloon," and I digitally enhanced it to see what was written on it? That wasn't a satellite that was underneath it. That was actually what was written on it. And then he zooms in, and says, "We've been meaning to talk to you about your car's extended warranty."
There was a lot of that. I loved it. People are so funny with that.
That one was great.
Yeah. I know, it's the best. I saw something that and it's a total change in subject, but did you see Dan O'Toole? You remember Dan O'Toole, Dan, Sportsnet, Sports Desk? They were on Fox Sports for a long time in the United States, and then that ended, and they came back up here, took over at TSN. Now it's just the Jay Onright show, and Jay does a great job. Dan left a couple of years ago, got let go as part of the Bell things. Well, the Bell firings, and big deal. It was a big deal.
Huge.
Here. And prior to that, Dan
may have also been fired for other reasons.
Well, there were a couple issues. One had to do with a daughter that he had who apparently was missing, and it was a long story. Anyway, trouble. He was in trouble, right? Lost his job. You could see stuff going on in his life. And I don't like to kind of, when someone's going through that, I don't like to go tell people what it was they went through because I didn't go through it. I can't take his inventory. But he put up this tweet today, and I was fucking shocked.
Me too.
I was shocked.
Yeah.
By the picture and the message in the picture. This is from Twitter, Dan O'Toole, Dan G. O'Toole on Twitter. 2 pictures 2 years apart. You get one guess which picture was before and after 2 years of sobriety. 2 years ago, I woke up and said 3 words, I need help. Greatest words I've ever spoken. Help is out there. You just need to ask. It gets so much better. Look at the difference.
Unbelievable.
On the right is drinking Dan. I think drinking.
I think he looks fine. Look at him. Looks happy.
On the left is sober Dan, who was courageous enough to be vulnerable to 500,000 people on Twitter and say, I needed help. I had to figure it out. I was in trouble. But the picture tells the story, doesn't it?
It's night and day. He looks like 2 different people. Like he looks 15 years younger on the left. Well, the one without the sunglasses. I don't know if it's left or the right from the viewers, but the one without the sunglasses looks 15 years younger.
It's makeup.
No.
No, it's not
makeup.
It's healthy living, man.
It's not makeup. And it's fucking amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody out there that looks at this picture or saw Dan's tweet that knows that, I might be riding the lightning myself, probably looked at that and went, wait, alcohol makes you look like that? And I'm like, yeah. I went back. Okay. I went back.
Well, I'm looking forward to this. I don't have any before and afters, by the way. It's just always right now.
Right now.
I went back and listen, I want people to do whatever they want. I'm not telling you not to drink. I'm telling you I drank too much, which is why I look like that. Dan is kind of saying the same thing. I think, again, I can't tell you what it was. Doesn't matter. Fucking super proud of the guy. I'm very happy for him. Sent him a nice note. He sent me one back. Just awesome. Just an awesome, awesome story. We talked about Justin Bourne, who's going to be on the show with us on Monday the 20th. Sportsnet guy, former hockey player, son of an NHLer, put out a book about it. Same thing. Just looks
I remember
awesome.
that day.
Yeah, because you were half of the bag pounding pints.
You were like, hey, you guys want to drink on the show? You guys should drink on the show.
Yeah,
hey,
go for it.
You got your drinks ready? And then we're both Linz and I crack a beer, and then he starts into this whole sob story about how this guy quit drinking.
I know.
Great.
Well, it
Yeah,
wasn't even
I
a
look
sob
like a
story. I
tool.
think they're fucking miraculous stories. Like I love sharing them because it's like, oh my God, that guy did it. You can do it. You can do it. And
Well,
you don't
it
ever
gives
see it
people
when you're in it.
hope.
It does. Does
That's
it
right.
not give people hope?
It does. And you're right. You don't see it when you're in it. But
No.
when you come out the other side of it, you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
I can't believe I lived like that for so long.
Yeah. I can't believe I thought that was okay. So again, this is Dan. That's before on the right, on the left, my left. That's after. This is Dino, the month he quit drinking.
You look good. You look happy.
That's Dino 4 years later.
Yeah.
It's
Actually,
all
5.
fuzzy. See? Look at that.
Look at the difference side by side. Booze on the left,
Mm-hmm.
no booze on the right. Booze on the left. Miserable, sad, fat, fucked, disheveled, hot fucking silver fox on the right.
That's your True North Eager Beaver name, Silver Fox.
Silver fox. Isn't that fucking amazing? Like,
Yeah.
and we don't see it. Like, I only see me in terms of the me that I see when I look in the mirror, right?
Mhm.
Every day, it's never changed. It's never changed. I've had days where I'm like, fuck, you look tired. But when I look at those pictures and I saw that picture of Dan and I went back and did that other picture, I'm like, fuck.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. And dude, that was just my solution because I was a mess. Dan, again, can't take his inventory, realized he needed to do something different. Justin Bourne realized men's health, your health is incredibly important. Incredibly important because not only a healthy you looks better, a healthy you acts better, a healthy you is calmer, a healthy you is better for everybody around you, especially the people you love. And here's the thing: the guy on the left hated the guy on the left, hated it. The guy on the right really likes that guy. And now the guy on the right looks at the guy on the left and he says, "You're okay, dude. You're all right."
Yeah, you
Nothing
got to
to worry
forgive
about.
yourself, right?
Yeah.
My favorite comment so far is, does your sobriety contribute to your albinism?
Albinism?
Albinism.
So here's the thing. I will say something about about sobriety. This is from the guy that drinks every day. I think everybody needs to look at themselves and make the adjustments and do the things they need for themselves to make themselves happy and healthy, right? I have a problem with the pressure that you get from society to do one thing or the other, because quite often I think it can be very confusing. It can send. That's why I get so wound up when Health Canada steps up and goes, you got to drink 2 drinks a day or you're going to die, or 2 drinks a week or you're going to die. I just think
Not
that is
exactly
wildly.
what they said.
It kind of said, they kind of said
exactly.
it's 2 drinks a week.
They
That-
recommend.
Yeah, they did.
Paul,
They recommend
that's ridiculous.
It's a guideline.
It's a guideline. You make your own decision. You're an
Yeah,
adult. You
absolutely.
make your own decision.
But I'm saying it's unreasonable to do that to somebody that actually might need to quit.
Oh, they're not.
Because
They're
you're
not
setting
telling somebody to
yourself
do
up.
that, though.
You're setting yourself up for failure. If your
Agreed.
job,
Agreed.
if your job, Paul, if your job is to actually take care of people and provide information that is going to be beneficial to that person and how they're going to make a change to benefit themselves, right? Scare tactics and things like that, I think, are counterproductive. I think it doesn't work. I think
I don't think it's a scare tactic. I think if you're interpreting that, I think if you're interpreting that as a scare tactic, I think it's probably touched a nerve hearing that 2 is like a lot for people, and you're like, fuck, 15 was a lot enough, and now 2 is too much. Like, I think that, and again, that's something everybody got to decide. Well, you internalize it as a scare tactic. It's a guideline. It's a Health Canada guideline. It wasn't like, don't do it or else. It was like, hey, we revised our guidelines and we've done a bunch of research and here you go, do what you want.
And that'll change under new research. You got to remember the Canada Food Guide recommended margarine for years.
Yeah. And
also
Fruit
bacon.
Loops over apples, by the way.
I still have I still have arguments with my wife and my daughters about butter versus margarine.
Margarine is 2 molecules away from being plastic.
I'm telling you right now, Paul, that's what thank you for bringing that up. Right? Like that's
Changing
the
the
point
subject
I'm
from
making
booze.
is no,
But it's along the same
it
lines
is
if it's
it is the
guidelines. The
same
guidelines
thing.
change.
Yeah.
They get new research, they get new data, they'll adjust.
It was like the
They might come out
coffee
6
studies
months or
where
a
they're
year
like,
and go, shit, you know what? We forgot to carry the 2. The decimal place was in the wrong spot. It's 20 drinks a week, not 2.
it's actually 200. Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody's like,
It's
"Yay,
ridiculous.
that's so
It really
scary."
is. I mean, that and again, you got to look at different people, right? Like everybody has to look
yes.
at it from their own perspective. And some people come to a conclusion that
Yeah.
they've got a problem. Dan and Dean did, and good for them. They made a change that they needed to make, right? And I look at my own drinking and I go on a fairly regular basis, I'm like, you're probably going a little harder than the paint for a 53-year-old, right? But that's up to me. That's my decision, right?
True.
I also don't have a lot of the ramifications of drinking or drinking daily that a lot of people do. I recently, and I'm not even kidding, I recently found out that people come off booze, hungover or whatever, and get like depressed, like clinically depressed. And I'm like, really? That has never happened to me. If anything, I get upset if I run out of beer. That's probably my biggest fear.
It's called an addiction. It's called an addiction.
There's no depression.
I
just
get depressed
angry
when I run out, not when I have too
I'm
much.
just angry I have to go out again to get another
Well,
pack.
dude, your chemistry is different, right? Like everybody, they hear that in the pandemic where they're like, everybody's chemistry is different. You'll react differently. I got to the point where my hangovers didn't last a few hours. They lasted a few fucking days. And it wasn't the headache or the nervous system or the
It's just
like,
what you're drinking.
No, and it was a lot. Yeah, I loved it.
You had to make
Vodka
an adjustment.
sodas. No, I didn't. I had to stop. I had to stop because I'm like,
vodka doesn't
I got to get
count.
away from it. No, it totally counts.
That's a clean
actually. It counts
booze.
more. That's not a clean booze.
It's potato water. Potato water.
You're the best.
It's a vegetable.
I don't know why you don't start drinking again. If you only had a problem with vodka,
I just don't get it.
Oh, come on.
No,
suck it up.
I don't get it. Like I get off on and I'm becoming that guy who used to say stuff like this, and I'd go, "Give me a fucking break, loser." Right? I'm the loser now.
I don't say that.
I don't
When
understand.
Somebody makes a
I
decision.
say that to me because like I just want to be present. I like my life. I like myself. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy meeting people. I enjoy creating things. I want to make the most out of it, not be numb for it or be able to drive places. Like that's just life. I mean, it's just I had a problem with life before, and now I don't. And that's the problem that a lot of people run into. And I don't, get into the whole treatment thing and how people are and what's good for you and what's good for me. But I knew that it was over. It was like one of those things where I'm like, fuck, I can't keep using this to fucking cope with my life. I have to figure out a different way to do it and make my life better as a result. But you're never better when you're hammered. You just can't make great decisions. The one thing that happens with people, and this is the one thing I'm super proud of, and I think everybody who's made that decision probably looks back and goes, yes, that's the ticket. I have the ability to reason and critically think 100% of the time. 100% of the time. I have the ability to get in a car 100% of the time. I have the ability to go into a meeting and not be worried about it or be worried if there's going to be booze there. If the LCBO closes, I am confident 100% of the time that it doesn't matter. Like it's a whole category of stress I've removed from my life, right?
Yeah.
And that's what everybody wants.
That's
what I needed to get.
You needed to do that, right?
Yeah.
And you needed to do it for you. And that's where I think we get into a little bit of trouble on the whole recovery conversation, right? The issue that I have with this conversation is I know how I'm wired. I remember my wife did not like me smoking. And at one point I remember saying to her, and I meant it from the bottom of my soul.
When I get out of high school, I'm so out of here. Is that what you said?
I didn't say I didn't say this, and it didn't really click in at the time that I was saying a lot about who I am as an individual. And I think a lot of people are like this. I said to her, you have to stop bringing up my smoking, because if you continue to bring it up, I'm going to smoke till I die.
Yeah. You're pushing back.
That's
Take
why
the filters off these bitches. That's what you should have said. I'll take the filters off these.
I used to cut them all the time when I drank. I used to take scissors and knock them down halfway so that so I could, yeah. So anyway, here's the thing about that for me. When I see somebody that might be having an issue with booze, I don't say anything because they've got to figure it out on their own. And maybe that's irresponsible of me, but I just know how I'm wired, and I know that people have to get to that point on their own. And if they don't, then leave them alone.
A lot of people can't, though. They can't. A lot of people can't get there. So you don't have to say anything like you're drinking too much. You could just say, hey, you okay? Everything all right there? Like, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm
got all
fine.
these lesions on your face. You got these lesions on your face and you're shaking. You okay?
Do you need to talk about it, Locke?
Yeah. You can't put a fork in your mouth because you're shaking. You all right? I'm good. I'm great. I'm great.
Mondays, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The whole ASMR mental health thing, buddy.
Yeah,
you come on in, check it out.
It's awesome. You should try it. It's really good for you. I knew a dude that couldn't brush his teeth in the morning or shave without having a screwdriver because his hands were like
permanent DTs.
I mean, we're laughing, but it was this. Like trying to brush his teeth and trying to shake. And he'd go into the closet, pour a screwdriver, boom, down it, give it 5 minutes. And then he just...
That's why vodka doesn't count.
Have a couple cocktails in the morning while he's getting all shaved up, ready to go. Boom, go.
Because it's a breakfast drink. It doesn't count.
It's a breakfast drink.
And his wife, I'm like, how was it? The clanks. His wife's like, I think you need help. And he's like, no, I'm good now. I just need like 2-3 drinks.
I'm good now. I just needed.
I'm good.
And she's like, and he's telling me the story, and he's like, she told me those were red flags. What do you think? I go, I think she's right.
I was listening to this interview the other day, and this guy was talking about his old man, and he was having trouble breathing, and his wife took him to the hospital, and they're like, dude, you got a 90% blockage in your widowmaker. We're going to put you under emergency heart surgery. So they slap him on the old table, fire a stint in there, and he spends a night overnight in the hospital, and then he goes home. So his son is on the phone with him like 4 days later. And how you doing, Dad? And he can tell his dad's eating something. He goes, what are you eating? And he goes, I'm having an Egg McMuffin. And he says to his dad, is that the best idea? You just had emergency heart surgery. And he goes, it's an egg. There's an egg in it.
Yeah, so that's good. Yeah.
And his widowmaker's cleaned out. He's taking the new fucking artery for a spin, dude. Leave him alone. He's got lots of years left in the new artery.
He's going to have a root salad au gratin avec jus.
The McDonald's every day, not a problem? No.
No, it's up to you. It's up to you. You can tell everybody. Dude,
I love that story. I laughed out loud when I heard that story.
Last story, the best story, George Best, former England footballer, went through not one, not two, I believe 3 livers. And each time he got a new one, they're like, you sure you should be back in the pub? Like, you sure you'd be drinking? He goes, new liver.
They don't mess around with that in Canada, eh?
No, you can't even get a fucking transplant if you're drinking.
No,
like, that's why they're like, you're at the bottom of the list.
If you get caught drinking in a pub with a new liver, they come take it back from you.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Excuse me, Mr. Best. We'd like that liver back. You're not treating it the way I asked you
to. He died young and in a hospital bed, suffering horribly.
Man, it is so difficult to get transplants and that kind of stuff. I get it. I get why
something to keep in mind, dude.
Community.
Something to keep in mind, because if old Locker rolls into the emergency room and they're like, "We need a liver."
Fine. It's got a skin on it.
All right. Well, you go and enjoy a beverage. Great to see you, Lachlan Cross, 957 Cruise FM in Edmonton. That's where you can find him every weekday morning. Home of the Locker Room. What's in that coffee, by the way? What did you have in your coffee today?
Guess.
Cream and sugar. I'm guessing that you went with cream and sugar. You didn't put any booze in it today. I don't think you did.
Bailey's.
I feel like you didn't.
I don't put any sugar in my coffee. Coffee is awful for you.
Okay.
So I put a little Jameson in there.
So you did have, okay, great. Good for you. Good for
Made
you.
it Irish, did you?
Cream and Jameson.
Oh,
Just those
Jesus,
two.
man.
Yeah, you lucky
I just take it
bastards.
black, like my
Yeah.
heart.
There you go. And you can follow Lachlan on Twitter at Lachlan Cross as well. That's Paul Atkinson, Paulie's World on Twitter. Blue Jacket Guy, great to see you as well. He's the host of the True North Eager Beaver podcast, which was tremendous yesterday morning. You guys going again tomorrow morning?
Yep.
Another day?
5 days a week now. Monday
5
to
days a
Friday.
week?
5 days a
Nice
week. Every
day,
day at 7 a.m.
Today, because Douglas was wearing a toque in it, wasn't he? He was wearing a nice little beanie. I saw that. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
5 days a week, brother.
All right. Every single weekday morning, you can listen to Paul, the True North Eager Beaver, little morning show. He and Douglas do it every morning here on our socials. You can follow him anywhere you get your fine podcasts, including True North Eager Beaver, anywhere, Apple, Google, Spotify, etc. Thanks, buddy. Great to see you.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
Anytime. Great to see you. Paul Atkinson, Paulie's World. Blue Jacket Guy. Listen, I don't mean to. No, I hate talking about drinking because drinking's awesome. It is. It's fun until it isn't for certain people. And that's our inventory, not yours. Go out and enjoy yourself. Seriously. Not for me, but if it's for thee, don't take that conversation of, how much healthier you are after you don't drink as like an admonition. If you're happy with who you are and you drink, have fun. Fuck, that's what it's there for. If you're not, fuck, there's help. That was the point. That's it. Not meant to make anybody feel bad about their life choices. Unless, of course, your life choice is to go to a convoy. Then you should feel bad about your life choices. And if you're an alcoholic or a drug addict and you're in the convoy, I'll still help you too. It's the way this world works. I won't like it, but I'll do it. Have a great day. Thanks for being here. Thanks to Paul. Thanks to Lachlan. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Really appreciate it. Thanks to our friend Colin Livingston at cantorque.com. Listen, he's a beauty. Not only does he make rugged, hardworking torque wrenches in beautiful Edmonton, Alberta, Canada for big industry around the world, he makes those solutions for you here in Canada as well. Mining, nuclear, railroad, heavy machinery. Sometimes there's a bolting solution you can't find one for. And if you're a Canadian that operates big Canadian business, give your Canadian manufacturer of the best torque wrenches in the world a quick little call. Go to cantorque.com for more information. Listen, these guys know everything about making tools, specifically torque wrenches. They're Canada's leading industrial tool experts. Sales, service, rental, calibration, maintenance, custom fabrication of those tools that you can't get anywhere. That is what Colin and his group at Cantorque do. So please get a hold of them today. Cantorque.com for more information. Also, our friends at kivlaw.ca, they give us the very best legal advice, and they do the same for you out of Southern Ontario. Defense attorneys that help you get your life back, know everything about criminal defense law, and are available to you 24/7. If you want to talk to a lawyer now, all you have to do is send them an email or go to kivlaw.ca. Here's Rob's email address. I'll give you his personal email address. Get a pen. Robert@kivlaw.ca. That is how you get a hold of Robert. And he's the principal at kivlaw.ca, and he will make sure that he responds to you, gives you the answers that you need, and helps work through your legal situation. Doesn't matter what it is. That's your first call if you're in Southern Ontario. Kivlaw.ca, Kivlaw Defense Lawyers in Southern Ontario. Go to Robert@kivlaw.ca. Send him an email as well. And, of course, Ed. God, I love Ed. Makes underwear. One day a few years ago, he was like, I need to make my own underwear. Boxer briefs, pouch in the front. They were all the rage. So he redefined the whole industry. Go and buy his Gitch, Gitch. That's the brand name. We are sponsored by Gitch, and you can get a pair of underwear for him for free when you order 3 or more. Go to edsfineimports.com, order online. Tons of colors, super stretchy, very breathable. The best boxer briefs on the market, made for Canadians, by Canadians. And you get a free pair when you use promo code GITCH3 at checkout. Gitch and then the number 3. Go to edsfineimports.com for more information. Oh, there's another slide. That's it for us. Have a great day, everybody. See you tomorrow. 4 o'clock. Have a great day. I'm done. You're done. We're all done. Bye.